we all know requests is the best library in Python ever. Like we all know that. We all respect it is the best. Not my favourite, because it's dangerous, but it is the best. However, there is one thing that it is not perfect at. There's one thing that it's not fantastic at, which is just getting files off the internet. And for that, we're going to look at wget. When I set out to do this project of 24 libraries, I made a list of libraries I wanted to cover. It's been tweaked a few times since then. I was trying not to do two libraries which covered the same thing. Yesterday I merged emoji and emoji into one thing. But I would try and make sure I didn't have something which was basically the same library as the library. And there are alternatives, and sometimes those alternatives are there for good reasons. This breaks that rule because wget effectively allows you to fetch web pages. But it's a little bit different. So I'm going to do it first of all using requests. So I'm going to do import requests. And then if I have a URL, which is here, that should be a good URL, and do requests.get URL, my response is equal to that. And then if I want to save that file out, I'll have to do response or open my file.txt or HTML, because it'll be a HTML file, with a write binary mode dot write response dot content, and it tells me how bytes are written. Okay, so that's basically, it's a two-line function, one to get it, then one to write it. Which also isn't very good for streaming content. If that was like a gigabyte bit of data which I was streaming down for some reason, that means I've got to actually load it all into memory here and then write it out here. It's not fantastic. Or if it was slow, for example, that's not fantastic either. So there's no progress really going on over here. So it's just what it is. Now I will say, however, that if it's lots of small files, if I was dubious about this URL for some reason, maybe I was expecting the file not to exist or to error, or I had to log in or something, requests give me the flexibility to code around that and handle those situations a little bit better than the wget library. But the wget is actually simpler for downloading files. So if I had high const the file there, I just want to download the file to a local file and not necessarily open that file. Maybe it's an image or video or something, I want to do something to it, but not to open it straight away, not have it in Python memory straight away. Then download the URL becomes a much easier thing to do. Now I've actually just got a 403 error there rather than anything else. So I just need a URL which will work for me, which I'm going to copy one off the web page, the example, which I really hope works. There you go. It's downloaded and it's saved it in one command. Now what you can actually do as well in here is you can also then do, if especially in the command line, don't know if it's going to work, thermometer, thermometer. Has that got a bracket on the end? 2 brackets, excellent. Oh, you can't do that. The documentation lied to me, which is just fantastic. But you can put thermometer bars on. I'll show you the documentation page. You can put these through. I've probably got to import it. It's probably the reason here. If I do wget, let's just try this. Wget dot thermometer. Yeah, so it starts to do it, but Jupyter console buffering isn't the best thing in the world. So basically, and also notice here, it's already worked out there was already downloaded the file once, so it's then renamed this number1, so it hasn't overwritten the file. You can actually tell it what the file name you want to download to as well is in there. So if all you're interested in downloading a URL, maybe you've got a URL in a database, that's coming in an API call, you just want to go and fetch that file and save it, not have it in the Python memory, wget is better than requests. However, if you've got any edge cases, like maybe you want to control the interaction, follow redirects, those kinds of things, I would be a little bit more inclined to use requests. And especially if you're going to be moving other API calls and you already have requests loaded both in your virtual environment and in your memory, then you may not want to add on an extra library. So it's an interesting one to have in your arsenal of things to do. Just be aware of its functionality and the difference between the two libraries. The other good thing, I think, is that having both libraries in existence drives them both to be better. I think competition between libraries is good, because it gives you, as a consumer of those libraries, a choice, an option, and it causes them to sort of bounce ideas of what a good interface is and so on. So this is a nice interface. I don't have to instantiate any objects, so I can just use it. Requests is an awesome library. I love requests. Use the right library in the right situation. There is no one size fits all, with the possible exception of pandas. There is no one size fits all, and that, to be honest, that's true for languages as well. Sometimes you don't want to use Python, you want to use another language because there's a right situation. However, that is what it is. This is 24 Python libraries in 24 days. Today was wget. It's a more serious library. It's a very useful, very powerful library. It's very easy to use. Use it responsibly. Remember, you're making web requests to other people, so don't stick it in a loop, put a sleep in, obey the robots.txt file of the servers you're downloading from. So if I've got like a list of files downloaded from one server, I may delay each one by a quarter of a second or so on. Maybe I use an async processor which has a delay built into it, so it doesn't hit that server too hard. Be respectful of the things you're interacting with. So yeah, if you're enjoying these libraries, there should be some new videos popping up on the right hand side there, and we are going to produce another video. This day is the 18th, I believe, because I'm pre-recording this one. So there aren't that many days left, there aren't many libraries left. If you're enjoying them, please let me know. Please let me know, and I maybe put your favourite library below. And there is a possibility I will get stuck towards the end and be using people's suggestions. That's it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.